Welcome to 6 Degrees of Wiki, a podcast where two sisters find the 6 degrees of separation between Wikipedia articles that don't seem to have anything in common. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Rosanna. Today we'll fall into a Wikipedia spiral where Nikki has just 6 rounds to figure out how the first article could possibly be connected to the last, while learning all sorts of peculiar facts along the way. Let's get started. Last month, we spiraled from Leonardo da Vinci to Moby Dick. Since it's a new month, we're starting a new spiral.
Round 1.
Today, we are spiraling from Cate Blanchett to Louis XIV of France. Cate Blanchett is an award-winning Australian actress, and Louis XIV was the King of France from 1643 until his death in 1715. Nikki, do you see anything that Cate Blanchett and Louis XIV have in common?
Yes.
Okay.
They're two things. They're both people, and they're both English. Well, I mean, he had, English blood, right? I mean, all the European royalty did at that point. So...
Cate, as I mentioned very recently, is Australian. And...
You didn't you?
Louis was French.
It's hard to imagine her as anything else, because she's always doing an English accent. Every once in a while she has an American, which always sounds really weird, but...
Yep.
Fine. Okay. I go back to my original point. They're both people.
That's true.
So there.
They are both people. Good job.
Humans.
Cate Blanchett was born in May 1969 in the Melbourne suburb of Ivanhoe. She's the middle of 3 children. Her mother worked as a property developer and teacher, and her father was a petty officer in the U.S. Navy from Texas.
Hey, that sounds like our dad, except for the Texas part.
Right. Isn't that funny that he was an American? In 1998, she played Elizabeth I of England in the film Elizabeth, and it was a really high-profile international role. She earned a Golden Globe, a BAFTA, a SAG, and an Oscar nomination for Best Actress.
Wow.
She continued to appear in multiple films over the next several years. She got even more super crazy famous and a bunch of, those fandom kind of fans when she appeared in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
It sounds so derogatory. Those fandom fans.
I'm one of them. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I guess she got a whole new set of fans.
Mm-hmm.
When she played Galadriel in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and then when she played Hela in Thor Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Since the year 2000, she starred in more movies like The Missing, which was directed by Ron Howard, Martin Scorsese's The Aviator as Katharine Hepburn. She was in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button with Brad Pitt, and then she played Elizabeth I again in Elizabeth I, The Golden Age. She was also in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and Robin Hood with Russell Crowe.
Let's not talk about either of those movies.
And then this year, she was in Ocean's 8 with an all-female cast, which I have seen, and it's amazing. Cate has spoken very publicly on feminism and politics and the pressures on women in Hollywood.
Yay!
She was also appointed a Global Goodwill Ambassador of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. In total, she's appeared in over 50 films and 20 theater productions.
Wow.
She's won, countless awards, including, but not limited to, 3 SAGs, 6 AACTAs, 3 BAFTAs, 3 Golden Globes, and 2 Oscars.
Goodness.
Here's an interesting fact about Cate Blanchett. She's one of only 6 actors and the only female to receive an Academy Award nomination for portraying the same role in 2 films, and she accomplished this with her performance as Queen Elizabeth I.
Nice.
Round 2.
All right, Nikki, what do you think the next degree is?
I have to go with Elizabeth I, because she was royalty, and so was King Louis XIV.
That's reasonable, yeah.
And that's really all I've got. Also, Elizabeth was just the coolest. So let's do it. Elizabeth I.
Your guess of Elizabeth I is Incorrect.
Oh.
The next degree is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh. Okay, I did not see that coming. All right.
You didn't think I would pass up the opportunity to talk about an Avenger, did you?
I really should have known. Tell me all about the movie, because I feel like I know a lot. Tell me what I don't know.
It's a little spoilery. Thor Ragnarok is a movie that came out in 2017. It's the third Thor movie, and it's the 17th in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The movie was directed by Taika Waititi, and stars include Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, Cate Blanchett as Hela, and Anthony Hopkins as Odin. It's widely considered to be the best Thor film and was the highest grossing at $854 million. It's definitely the funniest Marvel movie, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Just the general plot is that Thor has to escape the alien planet Sakaar in time to save Asgard from Hela and the impending Ragnarok. And I'm just going to throw this out here. Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master. Amazing.
So good.
Another interesting fact, in June 2018, Chris Hemsworth indicated his interest in continuing to play Thor, despite his contract with Marvel Studios being scheduled to end after the fourth Avengers movie.
I would watch that so much.
Yeah.
Round 3.
All right, Nikki, what do you think the next degree is?
Here's the problem. I was so excited about talking about Thor Ragnarok that I paid no attention to what little words I should be noting here and there.
Yeah, I've been there.
My fault. But I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark here and say Anthony Hopkins, because I don't know what, but I feel like at some point he would have played some royalty in a movie somewhere in his history, because he's made so many movies.
Mm-hmm.
I could be really right, or I could be really wrong, but I'm going for it.
Okay. Your guess of Anthony Hopkins is incorrect.
Okay. That's reasonable.
Thanks. The next degree is the Hulk.
Oh, okay.
Does that help you think about how we're getting to Louis XIV, or?
Let me be honest with you. No.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the Hulk. This article is specifically the Hulk from the comics, mainly.
Ah, okay.
The Hulk is a fictional superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. He was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. The Hulk first appeared in the debut issue of The Incredible Hulk in May of 1962. The Hulk is a huge, very strong, green-skinned character that is a separate and individual personality from his alter ego, Bruce Banner, who is physically weak and socially withdrawn.
It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
To give you a good comparison, the Hulk is 7 to 8 feet tall and 1,400 pounds versus physicist Bruce Banner, who is 5'9" and 128 pounds.
Is the next degree conservation of mass? Because that does not work.
I mean, it is a comic.
I'm just saying. I'm no scientist, but come on.
So, the story of the Hulk is that Banner transformed into the Hulk after an accidental exposure to gamma rays during the detonation of an experimental bomb. The transformation happens when Banner is under emotional stress and is unable to control it. The Hulk has seemingly limitless strength, and it's influenced by his emotional state, so the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Lee and Kirby were inspired by Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Frankenstein, and a story one of them heard about a mother that lifts up her car to rescue her child.
Oh, okay.
Hulk's catchphrases are, "Hulk is the strongest one there is." Do you like my Hulk voice? It's so bad.
That's right on, Rosanna.
and then the better known Hulk Smash! In the original issue, the Hulk was colored gray, so no ethnic group would be suggested. But there was a problem with the ink when they were printing it, and it resulted in some shades of gray, but then also green. So Stan Lee just changed it to green for the following issues.
I feel like green is less likely to have an ethnic issue than gray, right?
I mean, gray is like dead skin, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my god, can you imagine a vampire Hulk? That's scary.
That is scary. Other versions of the Hulk mentioned in this article. I'm just going to list them for you, and I'm not going to give you any information on them.
Okay.
Grey Hulk, Savage Hulk, Gravage Hulk, which is a combination of the Grey Hulk and the Savage Hulk, Dark Hulk, Green Scar, and Red Hulk.
Is he Red Hulk only when he's really embarrassed?
Bashful Hulk. Here's an interesting fact about the Hulk. The Hulk's powers are so great that he has withstood solar temperatures, nuclear explosions, and planet-shattering impacts.
Wow.
And even eventually being able to recover from being blown to powder.
I mean, if we accept the conservation of mass problem, why not powder back into Hulk? Just add some water, reconstitute him, he's fine.
This is dehydrated Hulk.
He's like sea monkeys, but it's a Hulk.
Round 4.
Nikki?
Yes?
What do you think the next degree is?
You said Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and at least that's in Europe, so we got the same continent. And
that's true.
Maybe we go from like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde to London to the Channel, and then we get to France, and then we get to Louis. That seems like too many degrees for what we have left, but somehow it's gotta work.
Okay.
So I go with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's my guess.
Your guess is very close.
Oh, was it Frankenstein?
The next degree is Frankenstein.
Ah.
Or more specifically, Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, okay.
Frankenstein's monster is often erroneously referred to as Frankenstein. He's a fictional character from Mary Shelley's 1818 novel Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus. The novel compares Dr. Victor Frankenstein to the mythological character Prometheus, who created humans from clay and brought them to life. The Gothic novel describes Frankenstein building a creature in his laboratory through chemistry and alchemy without very specific details. That is 8 feet tall, very ugly, but sensitive and emotional. The novel doesn't ever name the monster, though the monster does say that he ought to be called Adam. Dr. Frankenstein doesn't name him, but he has all kinds of interesting names for him, including creature, fiend, specter, the demon, wretch, devil, thing, being, and ogre. Can't imagine why the monster didn't turn out better.
I know.
Dr. Frankenstein is disgusted by the creature he's created, and he runs away in horror, leaving the monster to just wander, not knowing who he is, where he came from. He eventually eavesdrops on a family of peasants for long enough to learn how to talk. He tries really hard to fit into society, but he's completely shunned by everyone, so he swears to find his creator and get revenge. He kills a bunch of people that are close to Dr. Frankenstein while he's looking for him. But, spoiler, he doesn't actually kill Frankenstein. He's already dead when he finds him.
Oh. How'd he die? Spoiler alert for a 150-year-old book.
Yeah, he ran away to, like, the Arctic or something, and he was on a ship, and I think he froze to death.
Oh, isn't that too bad?
Not really. Interesting fact, there's a theory about the character of Dr. Frankenstein. The theory is that Dr. Frankenstein was based on a real scientist who had a similar name and who had been called a modern Prometheus, Benjamin Franklin.
Oh.
The monster represents the new nation that Franklin helped to create out of the remnants left by England.
Wow. Go Mary Shelley.
Round 5.
Okay, Nikki. Couple degrees left. What do you think the next degree is?
I don't know. You didn't mention London or the Channel, so thanks for that. I kind of want to go with Mary Shelley, even though I have no idea how you could get from Mary Shelley to King Louis unless they were somehow weirdly related, which seems unlikely.
Sure.
Ben Franklin? No. Maybe Ben Franklin met him because Ben Franklin spent a lot of time in France. He did. I knew it. It's Ben Franklin, isn't it?
Is it?
It's totally Ben Franklin. Tell me, am I right?
Your guess of Benjamin Franklin is incorrect.
Ah, he did spend a lot of time in France, though. I know that.
The next degree is Mary Shelley.
You are kidding me. Huh.
Almost like you said that.
Dang it.
Would you like to hear about Mary Shelley?
Yes, how? How can we get there?
Mary Shelley was an English novelist, a short story writer, an essayist, a biographer, and a travel writer. She is, of course, best known for Frankenstein or the modern Prometheus. She was born in August 1797 to Father William Goodwin, who was a political philosopher, and Mother Mary Wollstonecraft, a philosopher and feminist.
Oh.
Back in
Yeah, I've heard of her.
1797, yeah.
I didn't know that they're related.
Sadly, Mary's mother died less than a month after giving birth to her.
Wow.
So she was mostly raised by her father. He encouraged her to follow his own liberal political ideas. When she was 17, she became romantically involved with Percy Bysshe Shelley, who was one of her father's political followers. He was already married. Awkward. She and Percy and Mary's stepsister Claire left England and traveled throughout Europe in 1814, and then when they returned, Mary was pregnant with Percy's child.
Uh-oh. How'd that happen?
They were ostracized, they were in debt, and they were grieving the death of their premature baby.
Oh.
So 2 years later, they got married after Percy's wife committed suicide.
Huh.
Yes.
Yeah, that seems suspicious.
They went on to have 2 more children, William and Clara, before they moved to Italy in 1818, so Percy could avoid debtor's prison.
This guy just sounds like a peach.
Real catch, yeah. William and Clara, their children, both died, one in 1818 and one in 1819.
Oh, that's tragic.
Mary and Percy both wrote books, poems, and plays during their time in Italy. Percy also spent a lot of time with other women. Though Mary wasn't really committed to monogamy necessarily, so she also had other relationships. But,
Okay.
I mean, she had just lost 2 of her kids.
That is really sad. She could probably use some support, Percy.
Right, exactly. They had 1 more child, Percy Florence Shelley, in 1819, and he survived to adulthood.
Thank goodness.
Then Mary miscarried another child in 1822 and almost died from the blood loss. And Percy spent a lot of time after that with their friend Jane instead of his depressed and debilitated wife. He also wrote a whole bunch of poems that were addressed to Jane.
Again, really the guy I want to marry.
Yeah, I mean, just top shelf. In July of 1822, Percy and 2 others drowned when his boat sank during a storm. So, Mary returned to England to raise her son and be a professional author. She eventually died from a brain tumor at age 53, and she had not been in very good health for years before that, suffering from headaches and bouts of paralysis, which they attributed to the brain tumor.
Only 53. With all that you said that she'd gone through, I imagine she was already much older by this point in the biography.
I know, 53.
She went through a lot.
Her opinion that cooperation and sympathy practiced by the women and families were the key to reforming civil society, and that view was a direct challenge to the romantic ethos of her husband and the Age of Enlightenment political theories of her father.
Oh.
So she was her own woman, she had her own mind, and she didn't care what her husband or her dad thought. She knew what she knew.
That's good. I'd like her.
You're going to like her even more after this. This is an interesting fact about Mary Shelley. In 1827, Mary Shelley was party to a scheme that enabled her friend Isabel Robinson and Isabel's lover Mary Diana Dodds, who wrote under the name David Lindsay, to embark on a life together in France as man and wife. In 1827, Shelley helped the two obtain false passports, enabling them to travel to Paris under the identities of Mr. and Mrs. Douglas.
I do like her more now.
Right?
Round 6.
Okay, Nikki, last degree to get to Louis XIV. What do you think it is?
Well, you did say Paris. And
did I?
Paris, the last I heard, was in France. And Louis was the king of France. Thank you. I know I need to brush up on my geography, but I feel like that's probably right.
I think that's still true. Yeah.
And I didn't hear anything else that jumped out at me. Besides Frankenstein. Boo! I'm kidding. That was a terrible joke.
Did you say boo?
Yeah. Thanks for your pity laugh, Rosanna. I appreciate it. Yeah, I go with Paris. Let's do it. I've been so close twice now. I say Paris. Let's do it. This better be right. Or I'm going to come over there, and you and I are going to have a talk.
You're going to drive 3.5 hours to have a talk?
If I have to.
Your guess of Paris is...
Mm-hmm.
Incorrect.
Oh, come on!
Very, very sorry.
Was I close? I wasn't even close, was I? Of course not. What was it?
The next degree is Age of Enlightenment.
Oh, okay. I'm enlightened now. Tell me more.
The Age of Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason, was an intellectual and philosophical movement that dominated the world in the 18th century, mostly in Europe. It was also known as the Century of Philosophy. It included ideas based on reason as the authority, and it advanced ideas like liberty, progress, and the separation of church and state. The Age of Enlightenment is the time between the death of Louis XIV and the beginning of the French Revolution. Ideas during this time were passed around at scientific academies, Masonic lodges, literary salons, coffee houses, and in printed books and pamphlets. The undermining of the authority of the monarchy and church gave room for the political revolutions of the 18th and 19th centuries, including neoclassicism and liberalism. Some of the significant figures of the time include Immanuel Kant, Voltaire, David Hume, and Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison.
There's Benjamin Franklin again.
Yeah.
I knew he was in there somewhere.
Jefferson incorporated some of the ideas into the Declaration of Independence, and Madison used them when he was framing the U.S. Constitution. The most influential publication of the age was the Encyclopedia, published in 35 volumes from 1751 to 1772. It was compiled by a team of 150 scientists and philosophers.
Wow.
And it was used to spread the ideas across Europe and beyond. The king did not approve. And that leads us to Louis XIV of France. Louis XIV was born in September of 1638. He's also known as Louis the Great and the Sun King. He was a monarch of the House of Bourbon and reigned as King of France from 1643 until his death in 1714. So if you do that math real quick, he became king at 4 years old.
That's crazy.
During Louis's reign, France was the most powerful country in Europe, and they fought in the Franco-Dutch War, the War of the League of Augsburg, and the War of the Spanish Succession. He felt that war was the best way to enhance his glory, and he was always preparing for war, even during peacetime.
So a Boy Scout, really.
Louis married Marie-Thérèse, who was the daughter of King Philip IV of Spain in 1660. King Philip IV of Spain was Louis's mother's brother, so Marie-Thérèse was his first cousin.
Yuck.
We've made it through all 6 degrees. We went from Cate Blanchett to Thor Ragnarok to the Hulk to Frankenstein's monster to Mary Shelley to the Age of Enlightenment to Louis XIV of France. What did you think of this spiral?
It was very frustrating, Rosanna. All right, I was so close. I feel good about my guesses. I feel like I made pretty decent guesses.
You did.
I always love learning about people. I think the biography stuff is really interesting.
Me too.
Yeah, I thought it was a good spiral.
Thanks. And now it's time for Cheek of the Week. This week, we're going to talk about what we've been watching. Nikki, what have you been watching?
So listeners, if you don't know, Rosanna and I are both big TV buffs. And we like to watch a ton of different kinds of shows.
But every episode back to back until we see the entire season.
Pretty much, yes. We are binge watchers. Marathoners. I recently finished the 2nd season in like 2 days of Anne with an E on Netflix. The Anne of Green Gables reboot. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's pretty neat. It's a lot darker than the books. And they've actually brought in some people of color characters and some LGBT characters as well. Which is really nice, because they were not in the books.
Yeah, I've seen the 1st season, but I haven't watched the 2nd season yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I just recently finished watching the most recent season of iZombie, which I did not think I would like a zombie show, but I'm totally hooked on it. It's so funny. It's a really, really good show. This most recent season has gone a little politically preachy, I think, kind of. But as long as Ravi's on, I'm watching.
I agree. I like a lot of the characters on it. The actors are so much fun.
It's a good show. I like it a lot.
I am anxiously awaiting the next season of Humans, because the 3rd season just finished. I can't get enough of that show. It is about synthetic humans in London. They're all over the world, but they use them as kind of like servos, just housekeepers and things like that. And some gain consciousness.
Slightly futuristic, but not too far in the future.
Right. But it's neat, too, because it's, at least for me, it feels like a metaphor for racism, the way that the conscious synthetics are treated. But the characters are amazing. And it has Colin Morgan, who played Merlin on Merlin. And I will watch him in anything, because he's wonderful.
Another show I recently marathoned on Netflix is the baking competition show Nailed It! They have 3 bakers on per episode, and they're all really bad at it, and they give them challenges that they do horribly at, and they pick the least bad one to win at the end. The host of the show is called Nicole, and she is hysterical. She's so much fun to watch. She's a comedian,
isn't she?
I think so. There have been several episodes where I was laughing so hard I was actually crying. Tears were streaming down my face. It's so funny. It's so much fun to watch. My whole family, we zipped through both seasons really quick.
Nice. This is pretty relevant to this episode. I am impatiently awaiting the next season of Versailles, which is about King Louis XIV, I'm pretty sure, who built Versailles from a hunting lodge. That and Poldark. Those shows are both really great period pieces. And I love me a good period piece. Aidan Turner. Whew.
Listeners, let us know if you like the shows we've been watching, and also let us know what you've been watching. Have any good recommendations for us? Because I got the whole weekend free. Let me know. I will watch an entire show. Every episode. You just let me know which one to watch.
That's our episode. Tune in next time for another 6 Degrees of Wiki. You can keep up with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 6 Degrees of Wiki.
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can support the show by leaving a review, buying 6 Degrees of Wiki merch like t-shirts, mugs, and bags, or even by donating directly to the show at 6degreesofwiki.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.